Hello there everyone and welcome back to the next Blackgate mock update video. This is the last episode before the finale and I get up to a lot of exciting stuff in this episode, including working on the Nazgul Lego set as well as placing minifigures and realizing I don't have nearly enough to cover the battlefield, and then I also work on a few things on the actual gate itself. Overall, it's a very exciting episode, and without any further ado, let's get started. Before we started the rest of the episode, I wanted to show you guys the complete collection of the minifigures so far. I may try to get a few and more here and there, but for the most part for this mock, we are done. We are looking pretty good. 30-some, Rohan soldiers slash Gondor soldiers, and around 40-some orcs as well. So very happy with this. It's taken a lot of time and definitely a lot of money, but it's cheaper the way I've been doing this than actually trying to get the official Rohan soldiers. So anyway, here we go. Here are the two armies that'll be facing each other. And as a big fan of Lord of the Rings, it's kind of a dream come true to actually have an army on both sides to finally face off against each other. So very excited, and let's go ahead and get on to the rest of the episode. Alright guys, so I got a bunch of parts here, and I'm ready to build the Fell Beast set from Lego. I wasn't able to get it, unfortunately, since I got Barad a few months later, and the resale price on those Fell Beast sets are crazy. So I ended up, I'll put a screenshot on screen of this Reddit post that I found, where a link to kind of the parts list as well as some PDF instructions. And this person actually also built some custom wings. So I'm going to try those out as well and hopefully have a Nazgul and in the mock causing some damage. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. And here we go. Here's the Nazgul right here. Mostly the Lego instructions, except for a couple pieces where I didn't have the correct color. The real difference is the wings right here. So I mentioned how the guy that I found that had the instructions also did some custom instructions for the wings. I tried those, and what ended up happening was it wasn't quite balanced the best in terms of the wings were too big. So every time, if you were to just display him, he'd be fine, with the wings up, down. But I was trying to kind of pose him more dynamically with some of the figures, and the wings just kept toppling over and it just wasn't going to work. So what I ended up doing was kind of designing my own wings using some of the pieces that were in that instruction book from that guy. So I kind of started and took some pieces off and modified them and made them a little more lightweight so I could fit my purposes, which is going to be in this mock, posing it with a bunch of troops and everything like that to get some cool poses. So that was one of the changes that I made, and I also added in kind of a chain right there for the actual ring wraith right there. So I thought that was kind of cool. And yeah, so here we go. Here's what the Fell Beast is looking like, a little mix between a custom and the Lego set itself. Again, I'll kind of put the screenshot on screen right now of where I found the instructions. So if you do want to order all the parts off Bricklink like I did, and you actually may end up having a lot of the pieces in your collection already, that's what I ended up doing, was just using a lot for my collection. And then I ordered maybe about $30 worth of parts to finish the build. And yeah, instead of paying the crazy prices on the aftermarket for this guy, you can make your own from these instructions and just getting the pieces on Bricklink. So I'm very excited to have one of these. I wish I could do two of them, but I just don't think I'm going to have time or the pieces. So I need to move on and kind of finish the rest of this build. But very excited to get this guy in some cool poses and include him in the mock. And here we go. This is what I've also been working on here, is a little bit more rock work on the side. This is kind of the side mountain that I've been kind of trying to figure out what exactly to do with. And what I've decided to do is do a smaller mountain kind of structure right here instead of a super tall one, because if it's any taller, it's kind of going to block the wall from when you're looking at it. So I don't really want to block the wall too much. So I've got a smaller one right here. And then what I've actually ended up doing is kind of creating a little room right here, a little tunnel with some orcs and some reddish brown and dark brown slopes as well, and some masonry in reddish brown. And there's a little tunnel right there. In the book, in Two Towers, it's kind of described as all these different tunnels leading out of the mountains, where any orc can kind of just run out at any time, so you kind of feel like you're always being watched. So I've got a little entrance to the tunnel right there as well. And here's the tunnel right here. It's a little hard to see, so I think what I'm going to do is, once I'm at the convention, I'll try to see if there's any kind of lights where there's torches of some kind or something like that. So I think it'd be really cool to put a couple flickering torches back here. You can kind of see there's a wall back there slightly with some masonry and some orcs back there as well. And then here's the tunnel right here. What I kind of wish I would have done, and I may go ahead and add it in, was I wish I would have obviously done the top dark brown instead of reddish brown, but I just ran out of slopes. But I kind of am wondering, I may add some standing water in the bottom down there. think that would be kind of cool, is if you have some of this dark brown kind of terrain work and then maybe some standing water with kind of trans black pieces maybe. But for now, this is just kind of a small little hidden extra detail, a little tunnel right here that the orcs have carved out to go out and ambush anybody that tries to come in through the main gate. All right, so this little area over here is now complete. I kind of showed you guys the tunnel, and here is the rest of the little mountain itself. The Nazgul is definitely a little hard to pose because it's not the most balanced, especially on the feet. But by putting some Gondor soldiers on the bottom there, I was able to balance him in some cool different poses there. So I think this is going to look really cool when the final mock is done, to have all these action set pieces around the Nazgul. And that's kind of going to be what this little area over here is for, as well as kind of the orcs in the tunnels. And that's kind of the reference to the book. But up here is kind of a cool just battle area for some Gondor troops to try to take down the Nazgul. And we got another minifigure order here. This time this one's from AKVB Bricks on Instagram. Definitely go check him out. He gave me a really nice deal on these minifigures, and I'm excited to finally have a Rohan soldier, an official one. And then I got a couple more orc figures here and some helmets and other things, so I'm very excited about this order. And here are the figures fully built here, so 4 more figures to add to the collection, and then a couple of torsos as well. They got to figure out what to do. And then a Rohan soldier. Since I don't have the actual Lego helmet, I just gave him some long hair. I think that works pretty well. So here are some of the orcs. Again, a good diversity of orcs here. Once again, shout out to AKV Bricks on Instagram there. Definitely go check him out because he got me a really nice deal on these figures. And he's always selling a lot of cool stuff as well on his pages. So always good to have some more orcs. Now I guess it's time to get back to building. Alright guys, and with that, I have filled in all of the space on the battlefield here, so there are no more empty spaces. All the terrain is kind of complete right here. I've added in a couple more rock structures here and there. I wish I could add more lava pits, but just the way I built the structure, I would have to tear up a lot of stuff in order to get another lava pit in, so I've just got those 2 right there. And I'll probably, touch up some of the terrain here and there. Again, I'm a big fan of studded terrain, but I have tried to include a couple of tiles and kind of sloped pieces right here and some other spots on the mounds to make it a little bit different than some of the previous builds that I've done here. But here we go. Here's the terrain. There are a lot of flat spots, you'll notice. That's mostly because this is going to be a big battle with a ton of minifigures, and I need to have lots of spaces to place them, especially since a lot of it's going to be, close quarters with hand-to-hands with the swords and everything. I don't want a ton of mounds, so I've tried to leave some empty space for the minifigures, so hopefully that looks pretty cool. Again, the Nazgul will be over here getting a bunch of guys over there. And that's pretty much it for the battlefield area. Again, I'll probably add some things here and there throughout the mock, kind of if I have some time. But for now, it is all covered up and mostly complete. And this is what we're looking like. So the last thing I'm going to work on for this episode is the actual walkway on top. You can see I've already got a couple things there. So I'm going to go ahead and work on the walkway, and then up to you guys once I have some more progress. So for the actual walkway up top, you can see I've started to add in a couple things. I really like the idea of kind of some spikes going out, and that's what the orcs can take cover behind. I've also added in some dark gray elements right there, some of these pieces, but I replaced them with dark gray to add a little bit of detail to it. And one thing that I got a great comment from Mythic Bricks, and he suggested to add some dark brown into the wall itself, because Bardur is great at, the Lego set is great at mixing in all these brown colors and stuff, and all I've really done on this build is a little bit of dark gray and then the orange and black. He suggested maybe adding some dark brown, so I don't have a ton of dark brown left. I'm out of 1x2s. I have some 1x1s, and then I have those 2x4s that I just ordered. So I don't have a ton, but I'll try my best and see if I can fit some into here. But first I'm going to kind of work on some of the stuff up top here and try to see if I can get some more walkways and things for the orcs to take cover behind so that they can shoot down at the forces of men down here. Okay, so here on the right side of the wall, I've got some more details there. I added in another one of those kind of towers that I have on the other side, so now it's mirrored on both sides. And I've kind of tiled off the top and added in another kind of wall thing right there. So this right side of the top of the wall is looking pretty good. And over here on the left side, I've also got the wall pretty much complete here. I just added in some of these kind of diamond shapes right there on top of the wall, and those are kind of some holes for the archers to shoot through down at the forces of men down there. So now this side of the wall is complete, and then there's that watchtower that I replicated on the other side. So now we're looking pretty good right there. And in the middle, I've also tiled it off as well and got it looking all clean, so we are almost finished. And with that, the kind of top of the black gate is finished for now. Here's kind of a look at the entire black gate right now. I'm definitely liking the way it's looking. I really wish I would have had time to add some more and replicate this tower on the other side as well, so I could have a complete wall. Who knows, maybe in the future I'll go ahead and do that, but this is all I've got time for, unfortunately. So the last couple things I got to do on the wall are work on this top section and tile that out or do some sort of floor design, and then probably add some different barrels and different baskets of kind of weapons or other things that you might see on top of the wall right there. All right guys, so there's going to be one more episode after this, and that'll be the finale, and I'll be filming that at Brickworld Chicago because the plan is to take this to Brickworld. But for the rest of the episode, I'm going to set up some figures and kind of give you guys an idea of what this will look like when it's finished. The next time you see this thing for the finale, I will have kind of made some adjustments to the wall depending on your feedback and the overall mock, and kind of small adjustments here and there depending on what you guys have to say. And then I'll also be kind of finishing off the walkway on the wall as well. And in the meantime, I'll be trying to acquire some more figures to get this thing looking as good as possible. So for the rest of this episode, I'm going to go ahead and start to place some figures just to kind of give you guys an idea of what it might look like when it's actually complete. And I'll kind of show you guys there. But here we go. This is what the Black Gate of Mordor is looking like, at least my interpretation so far. Maybe someday in the future I'll be able to add on and replicate it so I can have actually a full wall instead of just kind of this half wall. But looking pretty good so far. So I'm going to go ahead and start to place some minifigures and see what it looks like. All right, so one thing I'm noticing right off the bat is I do not have enough minifigures. I thought I had enough for this build. I really wanted to fill most of this space with minifigs, but as you can see, I have a lot of empty space, so I need to figure out if I'm going to be able to get any more. My wallet says no, please don't, but I kind of need to get some more to cover this. So from now until the finale, I think I'm just going to be saving my money and trying to grab figures here and there if I can to try to fill out some more of the space. But here's what we're kind of looking like. Just imagine this with maybe a few more figures. I do have some kind of archers up there for orcs and everything on the top of the wall. The Nazgul over here with some Gondor soldiers that I showed earlier. Over here we've got Gandalf, Legolas, and Gimli. Hopefully I'll be able to get a Return of the King version of Aragorn as well. I still got to figure out how I'm going to do that. And some more guys up here. Again, I think just each of these sections, if I were to get more figures, I would just be adding on to each of these sections. So you just a couple more figures, it'd be a little more populated throughout all these different areas. Up here we've got the wall with some archers and spearmen for the orcs, and the Mouth of Sauron up here as well. So hopefully this will be a little more populated. And then you also can see I need to tile that off, so that'll be for the finale as well. The Nazgul area, which I showed earlier, I had a ton of fun setting this up. I really love this over here. Hopefully someday maybe I'll be able to build a couple more of those. Throughout here, nothing too crazy. I kind of want to spread out a few groups, so it's not exactly like the Return of the King movie. I kind of imagine that you'd have all these different sections where the forces of men have kind of gathered together kind of sparingly throughout the build, and then these groups of orcs are trying to cut them off from each other, so you notice they're all separate into different groups, and the orcs are trying to kind of circle them in and cut them off from each of the other groups. And that's kind of what I want to do when I get some more figures. So each of these spaces that are empty, I think what would be nice is if I had just orcs filling that up. And then maybe a few more forces of men if they have some more casualties, because I can't really have any casualties because I'm using all of the actual figures themselves here. So that's kind of my plan from now until Brickworld, is to grab some more figures and really populate this thing. And with that, that's going to do it for the Black Gate episodes here up until the finale, which I will film at Brickworld Chicago. And I'll definitely have a few more things added to the build, hopefully some more minifigures. The wall up top will be tiled out with the walkway, and then I also want to try to add in some of those dark brown elements that I talked about in the wall itself. But otherwise, everything else is looking pretty good so far. Hopefully one day I'll be able to extend it to the other side and do kind of a replication of that on the other side. So then I'll have like the full wall, which would be really, really cool. But here's what we've got. I've had a ton of fun making this. And if you're coming to Brickworld, definitely come check this and Renvar out. I'll have them kind of displayed side by side at the Empire Look booth. So definitely come check that out. All right, that's about it. And let's go ahead and move on to the outro. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you did enjoy. Stay tuned for the finale from Brickworld Chicago, where hopefully I'll be able to include a few more minifigures and polish off a few things here and there. Also, let me know if you think it'd be cool if I made more Lord of the Rings mocks. And as always, leave your feedback in the comment section below. Hope you guys have a great day. And always remember, one does not simply walk into Mordor.